So most investors have never seen a real bear market, and that is a major problem. Take a look at this chart right here of the Nasdaq. You can see that what happened right here for the Liberation Day tariffs, the market fell down by roughly 22%. But it went straight down and it pretty much went straight back up. But what happens when the market doesn't go straight down and straight back up? What happens when things drag out for a little bit? Like if we just look at the most recent dip prior to this one, which happened in 2022, you could see that from peak to trough, the market took roughly 1 year for it to fall to the bottom, and then it took roughly one more year to get back to the top. So from peak to peak right here, it would have taken you roughly 2 years just to break even on your initial investment. But investors that really came into the game in the last couple years since 2023, they really know nothing about a prolonged bear market. It's basically straight down and straight up whenever we even get any volatility. And boy, those new investors, they're really going to be due for something when we get a prolonged bear market. Take a look at this chart right here. We're going all the way back to 1870. You could see some trends right here. It took roughly 15 years just to get even on your initial investment. And again, right here, it took almost 20 years to get even on your initial investment in 1929. Take a look at what happened in 1970. Again, almost 20 years, roughly 15 years here to get even on your initial investment. And then check out here more recently. From the peak of the dot-com crash until you officially broke even, this was a lost decade. It took you over 10 years to get even on your initial investment. And I totally get it. Like the market's been on an absolute tear off this low since 2023, and many investors are just getting complacent and they're just like, there's no way this is going to happen. But honestly, that's kind of like exactly what happens before it happens. And one of the most confusing things for most investors right now is the fact that the market is ripping and it's going pretty much straight up. But the fear greed index is in the extreme fear category right now. Like, how is that possible that the market is going straight up? It's going to the moon. How are we extremely fearful right now? It just doesn't make sense. There's something weird happening under the hood. So, the thing that most people aren't going to actually dig into is the 7 fear and greed indicators that actually build this number right here. Because there's so many people that look at this number and say, oh my God, we're extremely fearful right now. I should probably go buy into the stock market because I'm being this smart investor that is buying the dip or buying when it's fearful out there. I mean, we all know the Warren Buffett saying, like, be greedy when other people are fearful. People are fearful, so should we be greedy and buy stocks right now? But there's a really, really, really big problem with that. And I really just think that investors are like totally complacent to what actually builds into this fear greed index. So roll with me on this one real quick. So the S&P 500 and its 125-day moving average. You could see that we're quite a bit of ways above the 125-day moving average. That could indicate that the stock market is a little bit stretched, it's a little bit expensive, and maybe we are going to be due for a little bit of a dip. Just think of this line right here as a magnet. The market always wants to bounce above and below this line right here. Like down here, the market wanted to go back up here, the market wants to go back down. So even though this says fearful right here, it's actually the complete opposite. Like this should be fearful down here. This should be extremely greedy up here. So it's naturally skewing this index down to 22 when just factoring this in right here would probably put it towards like 40 instead of 22. And then if we look at the second one, like stock price strength, this shows you how many new 52-week highs and how many new 52-week lows are being made on a New York Stock Exchange. Like we're still in a positive category of hitting new all-time highs. Like this again, this is not extremely fearful. It's actually crazy that it's factoring it in like this because it's not. And like the reason why this chart matters so much is because so many investors base so much what they do on this chart. But when you actually dig into the numbers and realize like this isn't actually what it seems to be, you realize that it's crazy what's going on right now. Like down here, this should be extremely fearful. Up here, this should kind of be like neutral slash maybe a little bit greedy, but this is by no means extremely fearful. I can promise you that. And then if we go look at the put call ratio, like this is another one that's kind of like crazy. So put divided by call. So if there's more put options than call options, that means that people are bearish. So the fact that we're below a number of 1, that means that people are bullish right now because they're buying call options. Like look at April. When the market was falling in April, volatility spiked up down here, and people were buying put options like crazy over here. When you buy put options, it was then in a 1-in-1 balance where you're buying one put option to one call option. But down here, it's 0.7-ish, a little bit lower than zero point 0.7. Like more people are buying call options right now. So this should not be extremely fearful. Like up here should be fearful, not even extremely fearful. And down here, in my opinion, should be like greedy slash extremely greedy. So again, it's factoring this stuff into the index right here showing the number 22, but in my opinion, we're closer to like 75. We're not even near 22 right now, and this is a major problem for the stock market. And the title of this video is this is your final warning because a lot of people are complacent right now and they're not really looking at the data that actually matters. The market is not extremely fearful. The market is in a greed, if not extreme greed category, and I'm going to prove that to you. And just to flip back to the chart, just to remind you where we're actually at in this bull market right now, because again, we're all making a crap ton of money and everybody loves it. But keep in mind, the Nasdaq and the S&P 500, they average roughly 10 to 15% per year. This is a 5-year chart. Look at how much the market's up in the last 5 years. 105%. We just divide that by 5. We are doing 21% per year compound annual growth rate. That is not sustainable. That is not okay. Investors are complacent. Investors think that this little dip that we have right here, they think that that little dip justifies a 22 on the fear greed index, meaning, oh my God, I'm buying the dip. I'm buying in extreme fear. You're missing the boat. You're missing the big move right here. You're missing the fact that 105% in the last 5 years is what we just did, and it's not going to be sustainable. We are going to see a correction. We are going to see a dip. And the purpose of this video is going to prepare you for that because all the investors, like I said, that came into the market these last couple years, they know nothing about a correction. They know nothing about a dip. They know nothing about anything besides a V-shaped recovery. What about U-shaped recoveries? What about K-shaped recoveries? What about recoveries that just take a long time to recover? Are you prepared for that? Are you going to be okay? So the first thing that we're going to have to talk about, and this is critical to understand, it's the emotional aspect of investing because investing is not hard. You don't have to be a genius to make a lot of money. You don't have to have a super high IQ. You don't have to read every single investment book and every single headline out there to be a good investor. You simply have to keep your emotions in check. You have to be rational when the market's going up. You have to be rational when the market's going down. And you simply just have to make investment decisions based on logic and not emotion. So the typical investor journey kind of flows like this. Market's going up, you're optimistic, you're excited, you get some thrill, you get some euphoria. Oh my God, the market dips, anxiety, denial, fear, desperation, panic, capitulation. You're like, screw it, I'm depressed. Okay, now the market's maybe going to rally back up. It just goes in the same cycle right here. So most people, they buy up here and they sell down here because they don't know what they're doing. They don't have conviction. They didn't actually research the companies that they're investing in. They buy when they're expensive and they sell when they're cheap because they just freak out and they capitulate. They wave the white flag down here and they're just like, screw this stuff. I'm never going to do this again. But if you're watching this video right now, let's just have a little heart to heart talk right now. You shouldn't be reading every single news headline. You shouldn't be checking your phone 10 times a day. If you're looking at your phone every day, and if you're losing sleep at night over your investments, you are not investing. You are gambling, you are speculating, and you probably have too much of your portfolio in something that you don't really understand and you didn't actually build conviction in that trade. So you're just kind of sabotaging yourself. You're just hoping that the market's going to keep going up, but eventually the market will crack no matter what. Like the market's going to go up and to the right in the long term, but in the short term, we will see volatility. We will see dips. We will see crashes that happen that nobody was expecting, and you have to be prepared for that stuff. So that's why it's critical when you invest to not invest emotionally. Don't look at your portfolio 12 times a day. Just look logically, look at the numbers, look at the business, look at the overall macro thesis, understand if it makes sense, and then do it or don't do it. And don't worry about the day-to-day volatility. But removing your emotions from investing, that's not going to be enough. What if you bought a stock like Palantir? What if you bought a stock like Nvidia? What if you bought a stock like AMD? What if you bought like anything in this bull market because everything is going straight up right now? Just simply keeping your emotions out of investing, that's not going to be enough. You need insurance. You need to know, hey, should I take some profits right now? Should I trim 20, 30, 40%? Should I let that ride? What do I do? So let's pick on Palantir here really quick. And we're going to start with the price earnings ratio level. Like Palantir is going up and to the right on a price earnings ratio level, meaning this company is getting more expensive. Now trading at a forward price earnings ratio level of 237. No company on planet Earth is going to sit at a 237 PE forever. Either the stock has to fall or the earnings per share has to grow like crazy, but it's not going to be sustainable to be there forever. So what do you do right now? Like the stock ran up a lot. Do you take a little bit of profit? Do you let it ride? What do you do? How much of this portfolio is your holding actually going to be? Here's what I have to say about that. Like, let's take a look at the chart. In 1 year, the stock is up all the way up here and to the right, 175%. Pretty crazy return if you ask me. And if we flip that to 5 years, check out how much this stock is up on a 5-year basis, up over 784%. Pretty crazy. Like, yes, the stock is valuable, the stock is great, they make a lot of money, the revenue is great, the earnings per share growth is great. But do you take profits right now? In my opinion, yes. And that doesn't mean that you're flipping to bearish. It just means that you're protecting your capital a little bit because when and if we get a pullback, like if the S&P or the Nasdaq corrects down a little bit, you're going to see high beta companies like Palantir. They're going to correct down a lot more. Like if the Nasdaq goes down 20%, I wouldn't be surprised if Palantir goes down roughly 30 or maybe even 40%. So you're going to be happy that you took a little bit of profits up here. Like think about what Warren Buffett's doing right now. This is a screenshot here of the most recent 13F filing from Berkshire Hathaway. You could see that they bought some Google stock, which, they must think that Google stock is cheap, but look at how much they sold Apple stock right here. So they're basically selling something that is expensive and buying things that are cheaper. That is the name of the game. You sell things when they're hot, you buy things when they're not, and you just ride these waves of expensive to cheap, expensive to cheap. You don't want to buy something expensive and hope that it keeps going up. You want to trim the profits while that stock is way up and reallocate that to something a little bit safer. And you're probably going to be like, well, Brandon, where do I put that money? Do I go buy Google? Do I go buy the S&P or the Nasdaq? What do I do if I trim my high beta stuff like Palantir or whatever you have in your portfolio? So here's what I like to do. And right now I'm basically calling it my vault in my portfolio, where I have a $1.2 million account in Charles Schwab. I have a couple other accounts that have six figures in it. So roughly like $2.5 million of assets that I have right now in my brokerage accounts. And I have roughly 10 to 15% of that allocated to bonds. So you could buy BLV or VCLT. Those are the tickers. I do like BLV a little bit better because it's a little bit more balance of different types of bonds. And I'm just sitting on the sidelines waiting. And again, it's only 10 to 15% of my portfolio. It's not like it's 50% of my portfolio. So if the market happens to go up, I'm still going to be fine. But if the market goes down, you're going to be happy that you have that money on the sidelines, that dry powder, to go and buy these dips, to go buy Palantir if it falls 50%, to go buy whatever happens to be on sale. Because again, we will see a 40% crash in the stock market at some point in the future. I know most investors right now, because the market's been going straight up to the moon, most people right now are going to be like, dude, there is no way the market's going to fall 40%. Trust me, it will. You saw that over here on the NASDAQ. What did it do from peak to trough in this time period right here? 36%. So almost a 40% dip from peak to trough. And this is only because the Federal Reserve was raising interest rates post-COVID. This is no major, crazy event that happened in the world. This is simply the Federal Reserve just raising interest rates. It's not a war. It's not a pandemic. It's not a whatever crazy thing happening out of right field. It's just the Fed raising interest rates, and the market went down 36%. So while we're all the way up here and to the right, you have to be prepared for that stuff. Take a little bit of money off the table. Put a little bit of money in bonds. Put a little bit of money in something safer than Palantir, for example. I'm just picking on Palantir, but you get my point right here. You don't have to be all in the market right now at this higher valuation level. And just so you could visualize just how high this valuation level is right now, you can see that in 1999, the price earnings ratio level for the S&P 500, it's kind of overlapped right here a little bit, but this is 25 going by fives right here. The PE ratio for the S&P was roughly 25. Now here's something that I want to say, and this kind of builds into a bullish thesis actually, and it's this idea that right now the PE ratio of the S&P is 24. But look at what it did in the dot-com crash. It went to roughly 25, but it didn't just hit 25 and then crash. It sat at 25 for a couple years. Like if we draw down right here, that's 1999 and then go up, that's like 2001. So it did sit there for a couple years. So hey, maybe now just touching 24, we're going to go to 25 and then sit there for a couple years, and then we're going to get some sort of dip, correction, crash, whatever you want to call it. That is possible. And if it does happen, you're going to be happy that you do have some dry powder on the sidelines. Again, I'm not saying to put your entire portfolio on the sidelines. I have like 15% of my portfolio right now on the sidelines. While I am still buying individual companies, I have the NASDAQ, the S&P, I have NVIDIA, I have Meta, I have United Health. Like there's still a lot of companies that I'm very bullish on right now, but I do understand that if the S&P falls, everything's probably going to go down with it, and you're going to be happy that you did a little bit of de-risking up here when the overall market's a little bit hot. You're going to be happy that you continue to dollar cost average either way, because hey, maybe the market keeps going up, you dollar cost average, right now you say you start it, you're going to catch that wave up. But if the market starts to fall, like, it fell right here, we'll just say, you're going to be dollar cost averaging lower and lower and lower, which is going to lower your cost basis on your shares that you buy. And when you dollar cost average over a period of decades, many years out, you're going to be happy that you did it. because you're going to pay an average price. You're going to pay a little bit when it's expensive, you're going to pay a little bit when it's cheaper, but you are overall going to get a fair and an average price. So overall though, the stock market in the long term, like 10, 20 years from right now, we're going to be fine. It's going to be up and to the right, the NASDAQ, the S&P, the quality companies that I cover on this channel, the quality companies that I cover in my Discord, we're going to be just fine. But guess what? In the short term, like the next couple years, trust me, there's going to be a lot of volatility. Don't feel like you're missing out right now if you're scared to invest a bunch of money right now. Just be patient. Start dollar cost averaging in, but don't put everything in at one time. We are going to get deals, we're going to get volatility, and we're going to capitalize on it. And that's what us as logical and reasonable investors here are going to do. And on top of that, when we find very compelling plays, we're going to do stock options to magnify our returns. Like what happened in April. Things went down quite a bit. We could use call options. We could sell put options. We can magnify our returns on ultra high confidence plays to make more money when we get this volatility. But right now, it's a time to be careful. It's not really a time to, leverage out and sell a bunch of puts or buy a bunch of calls. Just be careful. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. YouTube thinks you're going to like this one right here. Drop a like, drop a subscribe, drop your comment. I'm curious what you guys think. I'll see you guys.